This week in the world of AI for marketing, we have an important update to Google's AI search engine, some kind of important updates to ChatGPT, and finally, a conclusive answer to the question, is AI a fad? Place your bets, let's go. So first up, some updates to Google's Search Generative Experience, or SGE. Now, this is the bit of generative AI that shows at the top of Google's search results if you're using the Labs version of Google, which is the experimental version that's not open to the general public. It looks like this. Now, previously, it just gave you a generative AI answer without any links to websites that backed up any of the statements here. What we'd get is we get some links up at the top here, which allow us to just see some websites that give information on this topic, but we didn't get any backup for the individual statements given in this answer, and that made the Search Generative Experience result not particularly trustworthy because you couldn't validate the claims inside it. Well, that changed this week, and we now have links, and they look like this. You click on the little arrow, and then you can see a website which corroborates the statement that it's linking. And by the way, they don't always look like that. Sometimes they look like this, where you've got the little domain shown actually in the answer, which I actually prefer, although it looks more messy, because it allows you to quickly look to see, okay, is this a respectable, trustworthy domain? So having been one of the people that was calling for Google to add links to SGE, how useful actually are they? Well, I do think they are kind of useful. It's definitely better to have the links than not have the links. However, we're starting to run into a bit of a dangerous situation where the search results can feel quite overwhelming. Just take a look at this example posted by Lily Ray on Twitter. So this is a search for SGE, which is Search Generative Experience. Now, this is what you might call a navigational search, i.e. it's searched by someone who's trying to navigate to a page. So they don't necessarily want loads of information, but loads of information is exactly what they've got. And in fact, they have no fewer than 23 links to hunt through here, with none of them being the link to the actual product that someone was searching for. Here's another example of a navigational search, Bing Chat. Now, obviously, I was searching for Bing Chat. I wanted to go to Bing Chat. But what's instead happened is I've got this SGE answer with all these different citations or corroborations, but nowhere in any of these is the link to the website that I really want. Now, I don't expect that this is the final version of this. Google is testing different variants, but I think it's interesting to compare how Google is handling linking in the generative AI answers to how Bing links in generative AI answers. Here's the same search in Bing Chat, and you can see that Bing Chat is much keener to attribute particular phrases to a website, and it shows a little pop-up window that gives you some insight into the website that it's linking to. It doesn't have as many links. It doesn't link from every single phrase, for example, or sentence, but it does have a couple of sources and then a few more sources at the bottom. Personally, I think this wins on simplicity, and I actually think it wins on usability. Now, let's be clear, Google is not out of this race by any means. When it brings SGE to general users, we can expect it to be collecting lots more data because more people are going to be using it, and we should expect the results and the way they are presented to continue to improve. We should also not forget that Google is planning to release Gemini and a next generation search engine before the end of the year, so this could well be something filling the gap until that arrives. Up next, we have some minor updates to ChatGPT. Firstly, you're going to be able to default go straight to GPT-4 rather than GPT 3.5 when you log in. Next, you have some suggested prompts. Now, I think this is kind of maybe more of a big deal than it first seems. As we found experimenting with ChatGPT, our agency Exposure Ninja, the quality and usefulness of the output is so reliant on the quality and usefulness of the input and the skill of the person asking the questions. One of the difficulties about an interface like ChatGPT is you don't really know what it's capable of. All you see is a blank box. So the initial prompts that it gives you as suggestions are a useful way to start experimenting and learning more about the capabilities of the tool. And we can see that these demo prompts are really helping us do that. They're giving us a snapshot of the capabilities of the tool. For example, come up with concepts, help me debug a linked list problem, so that's a coding problem, recommend a dish to bring to a potluck, and show me a code snippet. And these will constantly change. So each time you open a new chat, you'll likely see new suggestions, but they have a variety of different use cases, and their testing usually is coding capability, it's reasoning capability, some creation or planning task as well. Another cool update is the ability to upload multiple files via Code Interpreter. And this is really cool because this is going to allow us to compare or contrast different files, to spot patterns in one file and rewrite another file using those patterns. For example, to read a piece of text, understand the tone of voice, and then apply that tone of voice to rewrite another piece of text. This really does help and opens up lots of possibilities. There are some other minor features like keyboard shortcuts and staying logged in for more than 2 weeks at a time, but it's really the multiple file upload that I think is most interesting because of the power of Code Interpreter. Now you may have been wondering, is generative AI just another fad, like crypto or peace? Well, this week, LinkedIn released its 8th annual State of Marketing report with some really fascinating insight into how marketers in the real world are thinking about their futures and new technologies. In particular, there were some fascinating insights about how much marketers are thinking about and using AI. For example, 68% of the marketers surveyed said they had a fully defined AI strategy. And the majority of organizations are using AI for things like automating customer interactions, automating data integration, personalizing customer journey across channels, etc., etc. So what does this tell us? Well, it obviously tells us that marketers are taking AI seriously and allocating budget towards AI. If you dig through the data, it's also very apparent that AI is primarily being used to scale marketing efforts, i.e. getting more leverage out of the human team to get better marketing results for less budget, which is kind of obvious given that marketing budgets around the world are being squeezed. Now you might think, well, of course AI is being used by marketers. Look at how popular ChatGPT has become. Look at how many marketers are talking about it, playing with it, and using it in their daily lives. Of course, AI is going to seep into the world of marketing. Except, if you look in the small print of this report, you'll see that the data was actually collected before ChatGPT was released. Whilst this report has only just been released, this survey wrapped up about 3 months before ChatGPT even came out. So how do we think those AI adoption numbers are going to look in another year's time? If you want to stay up to date with the latest goings on in the world of AI in marketing, then subscribe to the Powered by AI newsletter at pbai.co. We'll keep you up to date with the latest goings on in the world of AI and marketing, and everything is tuned for people who are in business. So we're not going to keep you up to date with every tiny little goings on. It's only the stuff that's relevant to people in business doing marketing. So go to pbai.co, and while you're there, you can also take the How Screwed Are You test to find out how susceptible your business might be to disruption by AI. Until next week, see you soon.